Hey everyone, this is Zach with NTG PokeHero, and today we are going to be going over our red cards for the last little bit of everything that's been spoiled from Ixalan. So our first card is Bonded Horncrest. It's for 3 and a red. Bonded Horncrest can attack or block alone, and it's a 5/5. It's just a dinosaur that needs some help. All in all, a pretty good limited card. Maybe in standard, just because of how much ramp we're getting, but we'll have to see where it goes and if this really has a spot, because I think the dinosaurs mana curve is going to be really interesting to look at. The next one is Brazen Buccaneers. So for 3 and a red, you get a human pirate common haste that can either turn into a 3/3 or gain you an extra land. Pretty decent rate. I think it will see all the play in limited. That's probably where it should stay. Our next one is a reprint. We've got Demolish back. So 3 and a red, destroy target, artifact, or land. Probably will be a sideboard card for most limited decks. Probably will never see anything else after that. Unless like the lands become like super crazy, but other than that, it needs to probably just stay in a sideboard somewhere. The next one is Dinosaur Stampede. So for 2 and a red, attacking creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Dinosaurs you control gain trample. We've seen anthem effects like this when creatures attack. It usually works out pretty well for the aggressive decks. It's great in limited, especially in a limited dinosaur deck, but probably you won't see standard unless something happens. But it's kind of where I'm shooting at it right now for the moment. Next one is a Dual Shot, also a reprint. So for 1 red, Dual Shot deals 1 damage to each. Deals 1 damage each of up to 2 target creatures. Just great little spot removal. Might be able to take out a couple pesky blockers, but all in all, I probably won't see much of standard play anymore. Fathom Feet Firebrand. So for 1 red, it's a human pirate that's a 2/2 that basically gets Fire Breath. Good for limited, pretty decent sync. Just be able to pump that up later on. All in all, pretty decent. Limited is probably going to be its home. Next one is Fiery Cannonade. Cannonade? It's like a grenade. I just looked at this, and it's for 2 red, instant. It deals 2 damage to each non-pirate creature. I think this can actually see standard play. I mean, Pyroclasm saw standard play. I think maybe this could be our Pyroclasm. My only concern is if pirates become a really decent thing, we probably have to have another piece of removal for that. I mean, maybe it's trying to replace, what was it, Inquisition of Kozilek, but, or was it Kozilek? It's Kozilek's Return, not Inquisition of Kozilek. Kozilek's Return, but all in all, pretty decent. I think it has potential to be in sideboards for standard. The next one is Fire Cannon Blast. So for 1 and 2 red, it deals 3 damage to target creature. It has raid. It deals 6 damage instead if you attacked with a creature this turn. Pretty good. I like how the gremlins, I like working on loading up the cannons and getting everything all worked out. Next one is part of our 1 mana, 8 mana sync, Fire Shine Keeper. So for Menace, sacrifice it. It deals up to 3 damage to up to 2 target creatures. I definitely don't think it's the best one, but I don't think it's. I think it's in the bottom. The bottom 2 is probably the best place for it. It's okay. Probably really wouldn't mess with it unless you really think you need it, which I don't know why you would need it. The next one is Frenzied Rapper. So not Raptor. So for 2 and a red, you get a 4/2. Pretty decent. You might be able to ramp it out on possibly turn 2 if you got the white mana sync, but it'd still come out on turn 3 with the other guys. So we'll see. Probably would be on the lower end of what you would put into the dinosaur deck. Good for limited. Hitstrong Groove. So for 2 and a red, it can't block. It has a menace as long as you control another pirate. It's a 3/3. Pretty good, decent. You get a 3 mana creature with 3/3 with menace as long as you control another pirate. Definitely will be really good in that pirate limited deck. Next one's Hijack, which is also a reprint. I'm kind of confused on why it's a Minotaur who's doing it. And hijacking, I would have loved to see like maybe a pirate doing it. But again, at Wizards, they were talking about making a artifact that was a pirate hat, and as long as you had on the pirate hat, you were a pirate. He doesn't have a pirate hat, so why is he hijacking it? I'm very confused by it. It's a decent card. Sometimes these see play in standard, it just depends, but it's also okay in limited. It's just something you really have to be careful of. Next one is Lightning Rig Crew. So for 2 in red, it is a goblin pirate. It deals 1 damage to each opponent if you tap it. Whenever you cast a pirate spell, untap it. It's a 0/5. So, pretty big body. Definitely helps with blocking. I like the ability just to be able to deal extra damage. I don't know if this will see standard play, but I think it will do pretty good in limited. I want it to see standard play. It probably won't, and that's okay. I have come to accept it. Definitely in limited, though. We will see it. This card probably might see standard play. Nest Robber, so for 1 in red, it is a dinosaur with haste, and it's a 2/1. My main thing that I'm kind of seeing this is in the Ramanat red deck. This thing will see play in limited for sure, but I think the Ramanat red deck, it loses Falconwrath Gorger. This might be able to take the place of it. It just really depends, but we'll see where we go from there. Our next card, though, definitely can probably replace Falconwrath Gorger. Rigging Runner, so for 1 red, first strike, whenever it enters the battlefield, if it triggers its raid, you get a +1/+1 counter on it, so you get a 2/2 for 1 first strike. I think this one will probably take the place of Falconwrath Gorger in Ramanat Red, which is great. I think it's a really cool card. Just being able to kind of give Falconwrath Gorger was kind of like okay for me. I wasn't really a big fan of it. I would rather have been playing like Village Messenger over that. I know some people had some weird things that they're playing, but I think this will take place of the Gorger, and the other one can probably take place of the Messenger, just depending. All in all, it will see standard play. The next one is also a reprint, Rummaging Goblin. So for 2 in a red, discard a card, draw a card. Card advantage is okay. Limited is where this needs to stay. The next one is Stormfleet Pyromancer. 4 in a red for a human pirate. Raid, if you attack with a creature this turn, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. It's a 3/2. I'm sorry, whenever it enters the battlefield. Good and limited, some extra removal. Limited stays. Next one is Sure Strike, also a reprint. So for 1 and 3, target creature gains +3/+0 and gains first strike till end of turn. Really good combat trick for limited, and that's probably where I would keep it. The next one is Swashbuckling. So for 1 in red, enchant creature gets +2/+2 and gains haste. I think it's pretty neat. I love how they can hold a card Swashbuckling. Limited, maybe in standard. We'll see what happens. Maybe in the red-green energy deck with the Electro Pummeler. I think it could probably play in there. All pretty decent. We'll see where it goes. I think it has a possibility for standard. I like this card. Thrash of Raptors. So for 3 and a red, as long as you control another dinosaur, Thrash of Raptors gets +2/+0 and has trample. So with all the different ramp cards we're getting, you can play this on turn 3 and have a 5/2 dino. That's awesome. I really like it. Definitely, I think my major deal that I'm dealing with the dinosaur deck is working out the curve, seeing what dinosaurs fit best. I think maybe it's possibly it can play in there. If anything, this is a great card for limited. You guys need to play it. The next one is Talahani's Knight. It is a human knight that's in common. Whenever it attacks, if you control a dinosaur, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. So for 2 mana, you get a 3/3. It's a pretty good rate. Probably will see play in limited and probably where it will stay. And that's okay, but all in all, it's a great card. I like it. The next one is Redoubled Volley. So for 1 and 2 red, a sorcery, Redoubled Volley deals 3 damage to target creature or player. It has raid. So for 3 and a red and 2 red, return it to from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if you attack with a creature this turn. I think this is really cool, just being able to bring something back. The only deal is it's 5 mana. I like it's a reoccurring threat. I think it's a limited all-star though. We'll just have to see where it goes from there. Maybe in standard, but I think with Lightning Strike being in standard, it would be really hard for this card to replace Lightning Strike. The next one was actually Wedge from the Mana Sources preview card. Advanced Blasting Cannon. So for 3 and a red, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast that card this turn. Whenever you cast your 3rd spell in a turn, you may transform Advance's Blasting Cannons. Okay, so first, just being able to look at your exile, the top card, we've seen this with Outpost Siege. It's a pretty good ability to have. I like it. I think for that aspect it does well. The only thing is in standard, being able to cast 3 spells at a time is really hard. I think really the only deck that might be able to do it in red is the Ramanat Red deck, but I don't think this is where they want to be at to be able to have an enchantment that's 4. I think they've got better things they need to be doing at 4, like bringing out Hazoret, which is okay. The last one is Spitfire Bastion, which is the flip side. You may either add a red, or pay 2 in red, and it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. I agree with the fact that this should be in Commander. That's where it should be. In Standard, it doesn't have a place right now, and that's okay. Maybe later on, but all in all, Commander is where this should be. Alright guys, I just want to tell everybody thank you. This was the red cards, so last little bit of that. We're going to go ahead and move to the green next. I just want to thank you guys for sticking with me. Remember, if you guys like it, like the channel, tell your friends about us, go ahead and subscribe, and then we will get going on the green cards. So remember guys, may the top decks be forever in your favor. Thanks.